Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Undoubtedly, it has some substance, but a vague statement that we stand for peace and freedom by itself has no particular meaning because every country is prepared to say the same thing, whether it means it or not. What then do we stand for? Well, we have to develop this argument in the economic field. As it happens today, in spite of the fact that we have been for some time in authority as a government, I regret that we have not produced any constructive economic scheme or economic policy so far. Again, my excuse is that we have been going through such amazing times which have taken up all our energy and attention that it was difficult to do so. Nevertheless, we shall have to do so, and when we do so, that will govern our foreign policy more than all the speeches in this House. We have sought to avoid foreign entanglements by not joining one bloc or the other. The natural result has been that neither of these big blocs looks on us with favor. They think that we are independable because we cannot be made to vote this or that way. Last year, when our delegation went to the United Nations, it was the first time that a more or less independent delegation went from India. It was looked at a little distance. They did not know what it was going to do. When they found that we acted according to our own will, they did not like. We were unpopular last year at the United Nations. I do not mean individually, but in regard to our policy. They could not quite make out what we were or what we were aiming at. There was a suspicion in the minds of the first group that we were really allied to the other group. In secret thought, we were trying to hide the fact, and the other group thought that we were allied to the first group. In secret thought, we were trying to hide the fact. This year, there was a slight change in this attitude. We did many things which both the groups disliked, but the comprehension came to them that we were not really allied to either group, that we were trying to act according to our own rights and according to the merits of this dispute as they seemed to us. I have no doubt that fairly soon, in the course of 2 or 3 years, the world will find this attitude justified and that India will not only be respected by the major protagonists in the struggle for power, but a large number of the smaller nations, which today are rather helpless, will probably look to India more than to other countries for a lead in such matters. May I, in this connection, say that during this last session of the United Nations General Assembly, many very difficult and very controversial issues were raised, and our delegation had to face extraordinarily intricate situations. I should like to pay a tribute to our delegation, especially to the leader of the delegation. Honorable members often put questions about the appointment of ambassadors, members of delegations, and the like, and rightly so, because the House should be interested in such important appointments. May I say to the House that nothing is more difficult than to make these appointments, because they are not just appointments of able persons, but appointments of particular persons to particular place where they may fit in, which is an extraordinarily difficult thing. In the key places of the world, the ideal ambassadors must be some kind of a superman. It is so difficult now not only to understand the intricacies, but to remain friends and everybody, and yet to advance your cause. After all, we have in the past discussed foreign affairs from the outside in other assemblies, or here perhaps in a rather academic way, rather as in college debating society. That is, we talked of high policies, but we did not come to grips with them when we had to say yes or no to a question and face the consequences. If the House will forgive my saying so, even in today's debate, many of the speeches were of an academic kind, which did not take into account the vital questions which concerns the world today, which may mean peace or war. But when the House does have to face the question and take a decision which may lead to war or peace, when one comes face to face with realities, one cannot rely merely on idealistic principles. Foreign affairs are utterly realistic today. A false step, a false phrase make all the difference. It is against this background that I should like the House to consider international affairs. We have to get over the notion that it is merely some naughty men playing about and quarreling with one another. Some statesmen in America, France, and the British imperialism lurking behind the curtain in the distance. Stop. Thank you.